Hello, and welcome back to the Konich-Yeehaw podcast on the Lost Choice Network. I'm Jared.
And I'm Natalie.
And today we're going to be talking about anime music. So, when you think of anime music, what is the first thing that comes into your mind?
Well, I think of the openings, really, honestly, because it's the first thing that maybe not so much anymore, but it's typically around the first thing you see whenever you start watching an episode of anime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So it's, it's a theme. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like it's like a vibe, you know?
Yes.
You gotta check the vibe of the show.
Right.
With the opening.
And that's one thing about, like, the openings is that sometimes they're, like, really good at, like, giving the vibe of the show, but,
Right.
like, sometimes they're really bad. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes the show, the opening for the theme, like, the opening is just so, like, I'd say, like, Code Geass's first opening theme, like, that show's about, like, war and death and, like, class disparity and things like that. But then it's like,
Right. They gotta keep you interested. They gotta get you to watch it.
Right.
Right.
Right. And, okay. Speaking of watch it, admittedly, I'm going to out myself on this. I only watched the openings, like, once, and then I skip them all the other times.
Fair. I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I notice that an opening has changed, like part the way through a series, because that's pretty common.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about, like, anime that did that. Like, anime that, like, okay, now at this point in the show, this character
we're gonna change the vibe.
Yeah,
because they're signaling that they're changing the vibe of the show, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyway, but I typically also only watch it once, which is honestly kind of like not the best weeb move, because sometimes I forget openings.
I forget openings all the time. I
Right.
Cannot remember any openings of any show. I also misremember openings and like, yeah. Which is a real shame, because a lot of the times, most of the time, the openings are like made specifically for the show.
Yeah, and
so it's not just like a song.
Right. And for the most part, I mean, most openings are good.
Yeah.
I would say.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I'd say a lot of times they gotta be catchy.
Exactly.
You know, they gotta be fun to listen to.
Exactly.
Which I think is one thing that makes a good opening, is one that's like upbeat.
Yes.
And like fun to listen to. An opening that's not slow.
Right.
There are some shows that have like slow openings and I'm like, this is not the vibe. I need something that gets me into the show.
Right.
And not something putting me to sleep.
Yes. I thought about this whenever I was looking through my anime list just now, because I was trying to remember these openings, right? Like, sometimes you got to just look at the poster to remember them. And the only one that I remember having a slow opening is Wonder Egg Priority.
Oh, you're right.
And it was like very slow and depressing, but that's like what the show was.
That's the vibe of the show.
But that's like what the show was. So I can't really be upset at it.
You're right, because that was a really good opening.
It was a good opening because it did set the vibe of what the show was going to be, which is something that is like not happy.
Yeah.
But also it still had that like tinge of hopefulness. You know, it's slow. It was slow, but it had that little bit, like, towards the end of the song, it was like, but we can make it through, you know, kind of feeling, I think. But that's like the only one I can think of that even has like a slow opening.
Yeah. I was trying to remember some. I have like some vague memories of some, but I couldn't like place them. I just remember some like, oh my god, I need to just skip this. Which, like, we're not alone in this. Hulu, Netflix. I don't think Hulu does.
Hulu doesn't.
Netflix has a skip opening option.
Yes.
Like, my pirating site has a skip opening option.
It does now. Yeah.
It even has an auto skip option.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't even have to go to the computer and like skip it. It does it for you. And that's just like, I have to turn that off sometimes because, like, you know, like Chainsaw Man.
The ending is always different.
The ending is always different.
We want to actually watch it.
So you got to watch it. Yeah. Which means that we watch
the intro opening over and over again,
too. You know, perfectly fine. Because Chainsaw Man has a hell of an intro. Mm-hmm. Or it has an opening.
Yes.
Other shows that have a great opening. Death Parade. Death Parade is your favorite opening. It's probably one of my favorite openings. It's on my top 10 list. Definitely one of the reasons it is. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a good, upbeat opening, very fun.
Right.
Another one is iconic Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yes, everybody knows it.
Probably the most known anime song there is.
Yes, and I will say that I actually heard the song before seeing the opening.
Me too.
Right. So honestly, seeing it with the opening, 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Like, honestly, it's made. Like, the song is made for the opening. The opening is made for the song. It's like incredible. It's incredible.
Yes, it really is.
Yes.
What's your favorite opening?
Okay, that's a tough one because I think there are a lot that maybe like hold a special place in my heart, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, everybody can get down with some Ouran High School. Yes. Kiss Kiss Fall in Love. Yeah. Everybody can. I know that Full Metal Alchemist had several good openings and endings. Mm-hmm. But one that kind of like, I guess a little randomly sticks out to me is the Beastar Season 1 opening.
I mean, it's really good.
It's really good, and and another reason why I think it sticks out to me though is because it is stop motion.
Yes.
Because it's outside of anime. They like do something different in the opening, and it's not just like an anime sequence, you know. Yeah.
I just remembered another like kind of like iconic anime opening is the Soul Eater opening.
Yes,
that one's also
one is
really
very good. There's a lot of really good ones.
And then obviously everyone, well, this is like always in everyone's like top and best anime openings list is Cowboy Bebop's opening.
Yes, I think Cowboy Bebop was very influential in its opening.
Oh, yeah.
For not even just anime, but I think film. I mean, I think in general, like how to do like those kind of sequences, those kind of like preview sequences. I see a lot of that influence still in media. I think it's really cool.
Okay, so you said preview. So one thing that I can't stand... Okay. So there are typically two types of like openings. Ones that are just kind of really fun and random.
Right.
And then ones that just show you the show.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, how do you feel about the ones that just like show you things that are going to happen in the show? It infuriates me. I hate it so much.
Yes, I have... The only one that I can really remember is like super duper like that is the Judge's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
First season where like the opening is just the first episode.
The opening is just the first episode.
It's just the first episode. Like, you don't even have to watch the first episode, just watch the opening and you watch the first episode. But a lot of the ones that I think of do just kind of have a vibe. It shows the characters kind of doing their things. Yeah.
Wasn't Dorohedoro's kind of like that?
Dorohedoro's was like a psychedelic trip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like weird colors and like kaleidoscope effect.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
But you know, shonen. A lot of shonen anime, their openings are just, this is what's happening this arc.
I see, yeah.
And it's like...
Oh, like Demon Slayer.
Like Demon Slayer, like My Hero. Naruto wasn't too bad about it, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I am very anti... showing me what's happening in the show. Chainsaw Man is a good example of like kind of doing both.
It shows a lot of what makes an opening good, I think, is whenever it just shows everybody's personality.
Yeah.
And it shows everybody's relationship to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what the opening for Chainsaw Man does.
Without
showing what is actually happening in the show.
But it does show spoiler characters. Like there's there's characters. There's one character specifically
that we have not seen yet.
I think they're like an angel or something.
Right.
I'm just confused because I didn't think that I'm like, every once in a while I'll see like mild spoilers for Chainsaw Man, like the manga, and they're like being relevant now in like part 2 of the manga, and I'm just like,
who are you?
What are they doing so early in it? And like this is barely covering the beginning, part 1 of the manga. Like, what are you doing here?
Right.
And then openings are always nice.
Right.
Endings,
yes.
The endings I feel like are like random bullshit.
For the most part.
Like completely not even relevant.
Yeah, and I know a lot of older ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of older ones weren't even really animated.
No.
So it was just like maybe like really simple, like chibi, whatever, do-do-da-da-da. And then there's scrolling credits in a song.
Oh my god. The absolute worst example of this, or best example of worst, is there's a, if I remember correctly, there's a Konich-Yeehaw ending that looks like fan fiction. I mean, not fan fiction, fan art. It looks like fan art. Like, and it's just a single image, like zooming in.
Right.
And it just looks like fan art, and it's so bad. I'm pretty sure that's Konich-Yeehaw.
Right. I think that was more for older animes, though, I will say. A couple of animes will still do just like scrolling credits song. Like Devilman Crybaby, which, I mean, it's a banging song though, so like whatever.
Yeah.
I think some of my favorite like older examples also of like this kind of like just image scrolling credits. Honestly, okay, once again, or in high school. Sorry.
Yes.
The ending song is pretty good. It's pretty good. And also, so I right now in this moment cannot remember the ending song to the beginning half of Black Butler. Yeah. But I remember the animation, which is just like a chibi Sebastian going around the house and cleaning. And I like remember that being really good. Like, I mean, like the song, and for some reason I can't remember the song though. So like whatever, but also the second half of that, whenever it's just the still image and like the song, I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So very rare, because I like never watch the ending themes. I like never watch them.
Right.
They are also usually a slower song. Like we said earlier, Chainsaw Man though, they have a new ending for every episode, and it's featuring a character.
It's relevant.
Yeah.
It's relevant to what just happened in the episode.
It is so good.
It's really
good.
Like,
the endings are actually really good.
Yeah.
Like, the one for Power was great.
It was great.
Oh my gosh, I just had a memory of one. I was just about to say something. Gosh, dang it. And then I said something else. Oh, yeah. The most unique ending I've ever seen. Pop Team Epic Season 2.
Oh.
Their ending is interviews with the voice actresses or actors.
Yeah, actresses. So they have their ending song.
Yeah.
Which is always the same song. I mean, over usually some sort of different animation or non-animation, depending how you look at it. But they do always end it with a simple animated interview with the voice actress.
Yeah, so if you don't know, Pop Team Epic, every single episode has different voice actresses or actors and actresses.
Yeah.
And so at the end they have an interview with them. And that's just so cool.
Yeah, and especially since they're just usually the interview's just like, so how do you think the session went?
Yeah.
And then they're like, it was fun working with you. Like, it's not like it's the most like riveting interview ever, but it's just fun that they like include that.
They're usually like cracking jokes and like, things like that. It's just really fun.
I mean, you know, maybe even your favorite one was whenever they're like, so how do you think that went? And they're like, good. I don't really understand what just happened.
Yeah, they're like, I don't really get this joke.
I don't get this joke. But Sure.
Also, something that's pretty unique to endings is that they're more likely than openings to use unoriginal songs. So, for example, Evangelion, "Fly Me to the Moon."
Right.
It was an original rendition of it, but not an original
song. Yeah.
And then probably one of my favorites is the show Great Pretender. Used Freddie Mercury's or Queen's Great Pretender as their ending theme.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But things that you don't really see with the opening, which makes sense.
Right.
Because the opening kind of defines the show.
That's true, yeah.
So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about anime actually in the show. So, anime sets the theme, or the music sets the theme for shows. Obviously, there's going to be some scenes that have super big action scenes, and then some just use it really sets the mood.
The ambiance.
Yeah. I think that the type of anime that probably uses music in the most explicit way is probably super fighting anime, like Dragon Ball Z. And so they have everything has a theme,
right?
And it's usually pretty intense too, and memorable. Oh my god, okay. So in the newest season of Dragon Ball, whenever the Ultra Instinct theme started, I was just oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And then sometimes whenever they use the main theme in different ways, they're here's a scene that's playing the main theme but sad.
Right.
Things like that. So question for you. Which do you prefer in anime? Do you prefer a more minimalist style like Joe Hisaishi, like Joe Hisaishi does in Studio Ghibli movies, where you don't really notice the music, the music is really in the background? Or do you like more of a maximalist style like Hiroyuki Sawano's does for Attack on Titan, where it's the music is almost the forefront, it is smacking you in the face,
right?
Which do you prefer?
I think that's a really loaded question, because those are so different.
They are.
I mean, they are for different genres.
Yeah.
Right? So with the Studio Ghibli music, what is important is to know is that usually at the forefront of what Studio Ghibli is nature. So the fact that it is a more of a subtle soundtrack just kind of fits that.
Okay.
Right? But then you take something action-packed, like Attack on Titan. Everybody knows the yelling intro. Yeah, everybody knows that. And that really fits it. Especially since, Attack on Titan is pretty, war motif heavy.
Yeah.
So, that kind of, it sounds like war music.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan does, specifically. To me, sounds like war music. I think that for me, one of the most memorable soundtracks is Devilman, the EDM techno.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I think that that's pretty maximalist also, in its setting. But I think it really adds to just the craziness of everything that's happening. So, yeah, that's my answer. I guess I like the maximalist more. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
But I wouldn't expect maximalist in Studio Ghibli. So
I think I use those examples just because I wanted to name drop some people.
Okay.
Just because I feel I don't know, I just feel I needed to.
Okay.
To be because usually I'm here's some shows to recommend, so I was here's some music people to recommend. Both of these are really famous people.
Yeah.
Here's a better way to word it. Do you like it more when the music is noticeable or more of a backseat? Because there are still some nature shows that have a pretty forefronted, very active soundtrack. Right. But there are also some shows that just don't really have much of a soundtrack comparatively. Yeah. So do you like to notice the soundtrack?
That's fair. Once again, it depends. Mm-hmm. So for things like slice of life, I'm going to use this as an example. For things like slice of life, high school, romance kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the music.
Okay.
I understand that it's there to do a little do like little like scene change maybe, or whatever, maybe a little walking montage, but I'm probably not going to remember it.
Yeah,
is what it comes down to. I'm not going to remember it. What people usually remember is the maximalist, the crazy, the loud. With that being said, though, once again, going back to Wonder Egg Priority being my, one, exception to all of this.
Yeah.
I do remember the minimal music of Wonder Egg Priority. And I remember loving it because it reminded me of another artist that I know. Mm-hmm. So, I guess it all depends on what's happening in the anime.
I'm a big fan of music being the forefront of a show. Mm-hmm. An example for me, so the two things that I can think of at the top of my head that shows both a softness, a soft music that still takes the forefront, and then also big music that takes the forefront, mm-hmm. is so for Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, mm-hmm. Freeform jazz is the music that plays. It is very loud, in your face. Other Gundam shows don't exactly have such active music, mm-hmm. but this one really did, mm-hmm. and it just is made such an impact that I remember scenes perfectly because of the music. Mm-hmm. Another show is what's it called? It's the
You're going the wrong way.
Oh, no, I'm not. Okay. It is the terrorist show that I was telling you about.
Oh, wait. Oh, man. I forgot it, too.
Yeah.
You did tell me about it.
Yeah. I've mentioned it on the podcast before.
Oh, no. I forgot it as well.
It is... I know it's on here. Zenkyu no Terror.
There it is.
Okay. Zenkyu no Terror. Mm-hmm. It has all of the music is incredibly soft. Mm-hmm. There's really no action in the show. Mm-hmm. It is very vocal, but all incredibly soft. But mm-hmm. the music is very at the front. There are a lot of scenes with no talking, mm-hmm. where there's just music playing and they're mm-hmm. Doing something very emotional. That would be something that I would say is a good use of, here's a quiet show that still has music at the front. Yeah. Because usually with these big bombastic maximalist shows, they're all action.
Right.
But this is an example of pretty much a non-action show that still takes kind of a maximalist approach.
Right. Okay.
Then we have music in anime. Anime about music.
Anime about music. Yeah.
First thing that comes to mind is, for me, is Your Lie in April.
Right. I never finished.
Let me rephrase this. This is music about anime that's not idols.
Okay.
Anime about music that's not idols.
Okay.
So Your Lie in April, completely super emotional, very much about music. Mm-hmm. Excellent. I recommend, if you want to cry, watch it. Hibiki Euphonium was also an interesting show that I'd never really seen like it. It's a concert band. Mm-hmm. It's a symphonic band anime. She plays the euphonium.
Okay.
It's just music. Mm-hmm. And high school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that you kind of consider this idol, mm-hmm. but I don't.
Okay.
K-On!
Tell
us about K-On!
I love K-On! So K-On! Is about 5 girls. 5 of them?
4.
4 of them? 5 of them?
5. There's 5.
There's starts with 4. We get a 5th member. Who are just in high school, and it's called the Light Music Club. So what that means is like we want to play music, but it does not have to be serious. Like that's kind of like the vibe. Is like we're using music as a hobby. Essentially, it's not competition. We're not trying to sell records or anything. No, okay, it's just for fun. And so like the typical idol approach, though, it is like following girls. I mean, like members of a group. Maybe not like the typical idol approach. They play instruments.
That's why I don't consider it really an idol.
They play instruments. They practice their instruments. They not all of them started out playing an instrument. Like the main character had to learn how to play the guitar. And so they I love them so much because they're just like this little cute punk rock school group, band, and they're in their little school uniforms and they're lugging around their guitars and their bass and their keyboard, and they're just they're playing their silly little songs about food and their stuffed animals, and I love them so much. And it does also have the slice of life approach of things outside of the club, obviously. I consider it idol just because it is a group of girls.
Yeah.
I guess. But very much unlike idol, they play their own instruments. And there was another point I was going to make. Oh, they're in school. I feel like a lot of idols are not in school.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of idols aren't
they never show them going to school.
Being in school is not a focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that way, it's kind of more slice of life.
Do you like music or anime? Music anime? Do you like music anime? I'm gonna be honest, I really don't.
Not a lot. I think I'm really attached to K-On!
Yeah. Because
of the characters, because of the slice of life aspect of just watching these 4 to 5 girls become friends.
Yeah.
And they all want to do a good job. It's not like they're just kind of willy-nilly. They're okay, you're in charge of writing lyrics, you're in charge of this and this, and we kind of make it work. It's not like they're I like that they're kind of not good at it.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a really nice way. They do sometimes get lazy. Sometimes they don't know how to write a song. And a lot of, like I said, one of their songs is called Rice is the Best Side Dish. They're really silly songs, okay? Yeah. They're not trying to impress too many people here. But they're just having a great time. And it's so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, the fact that it is high schoolers doing high school stuff as well kind of makes it, more, dare I say, bearable. Yeah,
and I love that they play their own instruments because so we watched this. My first introduction to K-On! Was through class, through our anime class. And I didn't watch it at first because I thought it was an idol anime. A really, idol stereotypical anime. And then when we watched the movie for class and I actually heard their music, this was, a big part for me. When I heard their music, these girls are punk. They're, they're rocking out and, it's not pop music, I guess. Or not as pop. I'm not going to say that it's not pop music, but it's definitely more I felt more emotion from their music than I do from idol groups.
Oh, yeah. I can understand
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Idol groups that so throw it out there. Love Live. Let's throw out Love Live.
Love Live, yeah.
Right? Very big, famous idol group. Everybody who is into anime has heard of Love Live. I don't know how many members are in Love Live.
Okay, there's we'll get into that, yeah.
There's a lot, and they're just I just imagine a stereotypical anime girl. Now imagine every color that you can think of, and each one of them is that color, and that's what they look like to me. And that kind of stuff, it's all pop, and they dance with it. They're not playing the real instruments. It's marketable. And it's really marketable. And like I said, it sounds so cheesy to say that I feel like the soul of the K-On girls' music more in their song about rice than I do than anything that I listen to. That is Love Live.
Yeah, no, I get that. Let's get into idol anime now. Love Live, there are way too many characters. I'm just gonna straight up, like, one of the reasons that I can't get into Love Live, there are way too many characters.
And that's a downfall of, I think, a lot of idol animes. Yeah. By the way, there's a lot of characters.
Yeah, so, like, Love Live, there's, like, not only is there, like, a ton of characters, there are a ton of characters that look the fucking same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think idol anime looks the same. Yeah. I think that...
So there's two big idol anime. There's Love Live and there's Idol Master.
Yes, and to me, it's drawn the same, I guess is what I mean too. Yeah. So like with it literally just all looks the same. And it's like, okay, every idol has a red character. Yeah. Every idol has a blue character. Every idol has a green character. Like they gets a little repetitive. Okay? And I don't really know what happens in idol anime. I mean outside of the music part, because I think competitions happen. Yeah. I think competitions happen. And but like what is the drama? Like what?
Yeah, I really don't know. I've never really like super watched an idol anime. Okay. So before we go, I think idol anime actually has a really interesting background. And it's that, okay. So what is considered like the first idol anime, quotations, is Creamy Mommy, the Magic Angel. It came out in 1983. And the reason why it's quotations the first is because that was the first time that they had they got an idol. They got like a real life idol. She was brand new to the scene, and they brought her onto this anime for the purpose of making her an idol. This is now used. This was like the first time this ever happened. Now, like all these idol shows, all these idol anime, the whole purpose of them is to make an idol out of them. Like, the purpose was to get them popular, make them marketable. But the real first idol anime is actually a mecha anime, and that's Macross. That came out a year earlier, and it features an idol in it, like as one of the main characters who like sings. And the main difference though is that she got popular like as a musician after the fact. So she wasn't like brought in to become a popular marketable person. Right. She just happened to become that. And I think that's really interesting.
That is really interesting, yeah.
Like as kind of a starting point of idols. Right. But as you were saying, back to what you were saying, what goes on in idol anime?
I don't know. Like, because the thing is that I have never even watched an episode of a like bare bones idol anime except for that rap one that we watched. Yes. We watched one episode of a rap anime, and it was so awful because nothing even happened. It was more like a series of music videos than it was a plot, which I guess if you're into that, okay. But there was no plot. It was more like we watched 4 different music videos. Yeah. That were all somehow miraculously connected to each other. So, I don't know what happens in idol anime.
Yeah, me either.
Other than that, I've never seen one.
Now, there are shows that happen to have idols in them.
Or like idol elements.
Yes. So, the in-between on this is Zombieland Saga. Zombieland Saga, the whole point of the show is that these are zombies that they are making into idols. It is an idol anime. Every episode they have a song. Okay, yeah. But like for the most part, they're just doing like random random stuff for the entire episode, like practicing, and like then at the end or some point they do a song. So like it's an idol anime, but like most of the stuff is just like they're like odd jobs that they're doing, and like backstory of characters and stuff like that.
Right.
Other shows that are like this did not need to be an idol show. They just made it for some reason.
Right.
Musume Pretty Derby. This is a show about racehorses that are like anime girls that are like anime girl versions of real life racehorses, and this show reenacts real life races, and then at the end they do an idol performance. Doesn't make any sense. Why is there an idol performance in here? I watched the show. A show that we watched together is Pride of Orange. It's a hockey show.
But I will say that we stopped right when it got to Idol.
Yes, we stopped watching it because it became an idol anime.
The thing is that it had the flavors of an idol anime. Well, okay. In the first episode, it let us know where it was going.
Yeah.
It said, hey, by the way, this is an idol anime. And we were like, I guess we'll just keep watching, see what happens.
Yeah.
They don't actually get into idol stuff until like episode 4.
Yeah.
But like they did let us know that it was going to be an idol anime. And we were like, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. And it's literally just that they are playing hockey. And then at the end of the hockey game, they do a little song and dance.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the idol part. And it's so funny because the hockey players like aren't doing it for the song and dance. Like they're there to play hockey.
Yeah.
And then the coach is like, by the way, we're going to do a song and dance. And they're like...
Yeah, it's not even like let's have these idols and make them marketable as hockey players. No. It's let's take these hockey players. Yeah,
they were literally just hockey players. And make them
idols.
Right, they're just hockey players.
It's so stupid. Another show that we watched that wasn't an idol anime but had idol anime vibes.
The comedy show.
Yes, there was there's a show, I can't remember the name of it. I don't have it written down anywhere. It's a comedy show. I've already talked about it before on the podcast.
Right.
But it's just groups of 3 that are all color coordinated.
All theme coordinated.
And they do their little song and dance. They don't actually sing, but they do their little act.
They do their little act together. And there's just so many of them. Yeah. There's just so many of them.
And they're all living together. And it's like, has idol anime vibes.
Yeah.
So we stopped watching that.
Yeah, I would just go ahead and consider it an idol anime. There's no singing, but it's an idol anime.
Yeah. So, in closing, I just don't get it.
We don't get it.
I do not get the appeal of idol anime.
It's too many characters.
Not enough things happening. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Love Life has so much, and I just feel like it's like you're... What is that called? Was it... I want to say Psychosis Mike, but I don't think that's right. Hypnosis Mike. Hypnosis Mike. I was like Psychosis. Hypnosis. I was almost right.
You're almost there.
Hypnosis Mike. That's what the show was.
The rapping anime.
I feel like idol animes are just music videos with a little something thrown in.
Yeah. To like try and make it all make sense.
Yeah. Like just make music videos. You don't need extra stuff. Just make music videos. Make your app games with microtransactions. Like I played one for like a year. That's fun.
Yeah.
They're little silly app games and all of their merchandise. But like the actual shows, I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I think that's all for today.
Yeah.
Thank you again for watching. This is Konich-Yeehaw on the Last Choice Network. I'm Jared.
I'm Natalie.
And yeehaw.
Yeehaw.